Everybody hear me?
Yep.
Cool. All right. I like turning burls. I especially like turning Australian burl caps. We got a number of them up here that I'm doing. The traditional way I've turned these removes all the goody surface from this side in order to be able to chuck it. And that really bothered me, because some of the surfaces of these things are fantastic. And this is another way of basically doing the same thing, but turn the foot on it. So this one doesn't need a stand, whereas this one does. But I ended up with a burl like this. I thought, cutting that's a crime against nature, as far as I'm concerned. So I was hoping that somebody had found a way to do this without cutting this surface. And so I spent some quality time on Google, and I found 2 bulletin boards where people had posted extremely short articles where they had actually done this, and they survived. One had a photo that big, which was not clickable. That was the photo. And from that, I had to figure out what he had done, because he didn't really describe it. So, full disclosure, this is not, I did not come up with this method, but I had to do an awful lot of extrapolation to pull this off. So there are a number of places that you can buy these. There's a guy in Virginia that sells them, AustralianBurls.com. He has come to SWAT twice. In fact, the last time he was at SWAT was 2016, and there were 3 vendors, including him, that were selling Australian Burls. His tend to be a little pricey, but they're also gorgeous. So I have bought from him. I bought from the 2 guys who were upstairs. There used to be a company called Bad Dog Burls, which has gone out of business, I think, twice. And I think this time it's for good. Their website has been down for some time. There was a friend of mine in the Central Texas Club who bought crates of them. There was an elderly gentleman who was retiring from wood turning, and he had amassed a considerable collection of Australian Burls. And the guy in the club didn't tell me until he had bought them all. So I had to turn around and buy some from him. So I've got them from a number of different sources. But let's see, that was 2016, the last time anybody with the SWAT was selling them. 2017, 2018, nobody's selling Australian Burls. They're kind of expensive to get. In fact, the price range, they're either expensive, or they're very expensive, or they're disturbingly expensive. But they're all unique. You can get 2 that are the same species, and they're labeled as being the same species, but they don't look like the same wood at all. Yes, sir?
What makes Australian Burl special?
I do not know. I do know that every one of these I've turned has been rock hard, fairly brittle. But the figure in them is amazing. And in spite of, because I've turned a number of different species, and just the color variations, the way they look, the eyes, most of them have eyes. This method that I'm doing will work for any kind of burl. It doesn't have to be Australian. I just feel if I buy an American burl, I'm not spending enough money. So, yeah, if you're looking for the get rich quick, side of wood turning, do something else. This isn't it. So, you start with a backer board, just a round piece of plywood. I'm demonstrating with a very small burl tonight, so it makes it easier for the video to see what I'm doing. You want this burl, you want the backer board to be at least the diameter of the burl, maybe a little bigger, but not a whole lot bigger. As I discovered when I was doing one of these, that was small, my lathe has a 16-inch swing, so I made a couple of 16-inch backer boards and thought, I'm done. Well, you put one this size on a board this big, I can't get the glue gun under it. I can't swing the gun this way because the backer board is under there. So I realized, okay, I have to make several backer boards. And one reason for having this the same size, there's a couple of reasons. When it's spinning, this is a constant reminder of where the outer edge of the burl is. You don't want your finger, back of your hand, your wrist, to discover accidentally where this is while it's spinning. These edges tend to get very sharp, especially once you true up the face, and they will cut skin. Why do I know that? But also, we'll be doing this by gluing in wedges. And if the board is the same size as the burl, you can get out very close to the edge. Notice I'm not going all the way to the edge, and I'll explain that later. This is not going to stay on that ear. Okay, so when you cut one of these, I mount it on a face plate, I true up the outer edge, and I true both faces. These things are always out of balance, always. And everything that all the material that I'll be removing is with the center of rotation, meaning scooping this out does nothing whatsoever to improve the balance of the burl. So I'm not removing the mass on the outside, and everything I'm removing is with the center of rotation. So you start out turning these fairly slowly. By the time you're done, it's just as slow, I'm afraid. So there's going to be a lot of vibration. So I true this up to try to eliminate any other source of vibration there might be. All right, so this is what I'm going to do today. Gluing it up is a very time-consuming process, so I'm not going to show all of it. Put you to sleep, we'd be here all night, all that stuff. Yeah?
Have you considered using tire balancing techniques to balance your backer board?
You can do that, yes. In fact, I did that for this one.
Could you repeat the question?
The question was, can you use counterweights? And the backer boards make it really, really easy to use counterweights if you want to do that. I've never used a counterweight in a turning before, but I decided to try it on this one, and it helped. I don't have any actual weights. I just screwed had a block of elm. It was sort of kind of heavy, and screwed it onto the lightweight side. Of course, then I have this big extra chunk of wood flying around. That made me kind of nervous, but it helped. I was able to speed it up a bit.